What's going on, guys? Having technical difficulties here. Sorry for the wait, everyone. My Sony ZV-1, you guys know it. It's my favorite camera, and it's not working. Last night it was acting up on me when I tried making that video that short video I posted yesterday, and it was glitching. I'm like, didn't even use it, but okay. Tried it today, same thing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's because the battery's in, but either way, it's coming out the gate. It's cold in here. Glitching. So, without further ado, let's get going with this live show. Sorry for the initial wait. I was ready to go, and next thing you know, boom, no camera. And I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing the night after the show. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Today's topic is literally about, does it take power to make power? How much electrical do I need? Let's talk about batteries, alternators, and we're going to go over the post that I made. And I'm really surprised on the results, and at the same time, I'm happy with the results too. So we're going to get to that. But before we do anything else, let's get to some of the comments. If you guys have any questions about anything with the topic or just anything in general, drop them down below. Again, thank you guys for the wait, for waiting. I felt kind of bad for that, but I'm like, I'm going to try to get the ZV-1 going. I just love the picture quality, but man, it can be a pain in the butt. Yeah, see, I want to get a new camera. I want to get a new camera, and I want to be able to stream forever like I can on the GoPro, but I want that mirrorless image that's on the Sony ZV-1. And I just don't understand. Let me shut this off anyway. I just don't understand the problem now, but in general, it just overheats. And I called Sony today, too. That's the funny thing. And they're like, yeah, our best camera only lasts 2 hours on stream. I'm like, oh, well, that's better than a half an hour that this one's rated at. How much is it? Oh, it's $3,500. I'm like, you're kidding, right? Like, I'll just go buy a professional camera, like an actual one. Kinda, sorta. Yeah, I did a bunch of stuff the other day with the Elgato. I got my music working. Now my video is messing up. Man, it's always something. Consult Dean for camera advice. Absolutely, man. I've been doing some YouTube on my own, but yeah, I definitely want to get some options out there. What's going on, Paul? Thanks for tuning in, man. Adir, thank you for tuning in as well. Shit happens, bro. It's all good. At least you'll be able to get it going. Right. I love my GoPro. It's all true and faithful, but the picture quality isn't as good, and the frame is just kind of out of the way to be out of the way of the Sony ZV-1, but it works. 25 to life. Dean's advice will be to drop 3K on a camera. Right. I mean, I've been getting around the glitch and stuff, but now it's doing it out the gate. I think it's the wire. I tried using a different wire, and then it wasn't working at all. So there's something going on. I'll have to take a look at it afterwards. The dynamic duo is in full effect. Absolutely. Oh, thank you for tuning in. You know what? That's why I'm live on my TikTok over here. You can't see it's off camera. Just to get some more people in, because I used to go live on there, but here we are on YouTube, and worked. Awesome. Thank you, Jay Graham, for tuning in, man. Appreciate you, man. Oh yeah, you had the 6-scar 15s on like a DC 10K. That's awesome. I don't know if you answered me. Was that a wall or no wall? Let's see here. Okay. DIY Audio Guy says, when I stream, I just use a $100 Logitech. Did a lot of my earlier videos with it. I am beginning to hate my GoPros. I've been good with the GoPros, man. I've had mine for a while. I bought it when it first came out, the GoPro 8. You know that. I like it, you know, but it's an action camera. It really is. The big difference between the Sony ZV-1, other than being non and mirrorless camera, the depth of view, like it has good focus. You know what I mean? Like most cameras back in the day couldn't do that very well. It'd be blurry, but it doesn't show me as well as just how the Sony ZV-1 works, or a mirrorless camera. So there's that, and zoom functions and stuff. Vega goes, you could get enough money out of the ZV-1 to buy refurbished Canon M200 with a kit lens. Right. I don't know if I would sell the ZV-1. I'm honestly just taking it for a loss, and I'll just go grab another camera and use it as, you know, a blogging camera, walking around talking about stuff. And it does work for my dyno videos and stuff, so I'm not complaining, and for those awesome close-up shots. But I am definitely in the market. It's just, you know, whenever they tell you about doing YouTube or podcasting, you don't go and buy $3,000 camera and all this other stuff when you first start out. You know what I mean? Because, like, who knows what could happen? You might just waste a bunch of money. I'm not saying that I would, but when the time's right, sure. I bought this camera for Kayla's ZV-1, and I just happened to try using it for streaming, and I was like, wow, this thing is beautiful. Not that my GoPro isn't okay. It works. It definitely does. I do a 155 dB, and then you're wired at half ohm. That's not bad, dude. 615s. I mean, that's right, and you got it wired down to the dirt, so you're probably rising a little bit over 1 to 2 ohms, getting about 5K out of that amp on 615s. Not bad at all. Probably a no wall. Let's see. Adir says, I still use an iPhone 7 for recording, and it still does well for what I need. Right. I know there's some shots that I use for my phone. I can see the quality, at least with mine, because I'm, you know, just like you, I got an iPhone 10 and I got a 7, and you can see it a little bit, but for some stuff it definitely does work for sure. I mean, look at Parker. He uses all his videos with the iPhone. Come on. It works. I'm just, I'm a little picky with stuff. I'm like, man, that's a really clean picture. I don't want to go back. But anyway, let's get off the camera. Screw the camera. Let's just go with the show. So how much electrical do you guys think you need? You know, I feel like I get questions a lot where people are like, well, I only have about 1,000 RMS, or I have this amp and I have these subs. How much electrical do I really need? And I mean, I feel like a lot of it comes down to the amplifier you're using and how you're using it. Yes, wiring it lower, you're going to need more power because you're going to be making more power. And then, like I said, with the amplifier type, it's going to make a difference of the class. If it's like a half bridge or full bridge design, if it's a class AB, a class D, there's efficiency factors along all those, and stuff like that. So let me pull up that poll that you guys posted, and you're going to see the results, and it's pretty crazy of how they came out. I was really surprised. All right, so if you could see there, it literally says, tell me what you have in your electrical, you know, and the options stock, only big 3, added batteries with the big 3, figured you guys would get that part, and upgraded batteries and alternator. So you don't have a stock alternator, you got pretty much everything. And then that's just like AGM, you know, and then the whole shebang, you know what I mean? I'm talking lithium, supercaps, whatever, you know, you name it. And why the results are funny but awesome at the same time, majority of you guys have stock electrical. Now, does that mean that, you know, oh, you don't have enough electrical? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends. But it also shows that, you know, not everybody that has a system knows to upgrade their electrical, or maybe they just don't need to because of the type of equipment that they're running. So I thought that was pretty cool that the majority of the people have a stock electrical. If you guys want to comment again what you had, you know, that would be cool. I'll throw it up. Let's see what other comments we got here. Hi-Fi Vegas says he's been using his iPhone 13 all day. I can't. Jay Graham says, as much as you can squeeze in your ride. I definitely believe that. I'm on the side of you can never have too much power. Let's see. DIY audio guy's already dipping. It's all right, buddy. Thanks for tuning in, man. Thank you, RGA. Appreciate you, man. Go spend some time with your family, man. GZ52 brings up a question here. Andy, couple questions. I have a 2-to-1 fourth order. Originally had 2 JLW1s, 12s. What kicker should I go with? VR, R, running about 300 to 400 watts. I'm trying to think. You got the W1s, so I think those are what, 300 RMS or 250? Probably right around the same as the W3s that I have. And you have 300 to 400 watts. You want something pretty efficient. Honestly, I'd go with the kicker comps. I mean, a VR or an R, they're all good options. If you go up, like to a VR or an R or a VR, you're going to need more power. Honestly, I'd go with the comp Cs because those are 300 RMS, and I feel like they're going to be the most efficient out of the 3 options you have there, and it's going to sound pretty good, man. Jay Graham says he has 3 alternators, 200 amps of lithium, 24 supercapacitors. Wow. I mean, you got the whole shebang right there. Mullen Performance says, I have a JS390 times 2 AGMs and a Locus Cap Bank runs 2 Sundown SIA 3500s at 15 volts rock solid. I mean, whenever your voltage doesn't drop, that means that your electrical is good. It really does for what you're demanding. Once your electrical starts dropping, you're either pulling more than the alternator can dish out, which is the first step. Then next is when your batteries start to run out of reserve. El Fuego says running 1800 watts of old school Z audio class AB. Requires big time electrical, horribly inefficient amps. Right. And that's kind of like what I wanted to get on tonight, where if you have a lot of electrical, you'll be okay, but it all depends on the type of amplifier. So let's just say in a perfect world, you're clamping 1800 watts. Well, we're just going to say that. On an AB, averagely, they're 40 to 60% efficient, and that's being kind of generous. So you're going to be pulling 3600 watts. And then if your voltage doesn't bog at all, you do 3600 divided by the 14 volts, and it'll give you volt amps of how much current that you're pulling from your system. So you're almost pulling 3600 watts out of your car. Now, how many watts do you really need for your amplifiers to be happy, and how much can your stock electrical pick up? So, I mean, there's a lot of variables on how much electrical that you need for set amps. Here, let me go through the chat real fast here. See, El Fuego, you got a nice alternator. That's why you weren't having too many issues. Not like the amp maybe did 1800 watts, might have did more, might have did less. But you got your electrical stout, and you got the Hi-Fi Big 3 kit. The same guy commented different guy commented the same comment from a different YouTube. But anyway, so how much electrical do you need for like a stock setup? Let's just say you have 100 amps of alternator. Most cars are around that, above or below. I kind of want to look at things, how much power can I make from my alternator? Yes, we know, maybe you don't. You're not getting all that. Your car needs some of that stuff too. So 60 to 70% maybe can go to your amplifier. And there's a lot of factors that come along with that. And then you have your stock battery. So it's not going to be a quick discharge, not going to have a ton of capacity. So you're only going to have so much. And for me running this test bench up here and trying to do amp dynos where the voltage has to be around 14 volts, come on. And that's the main thing, is keeping the voltage. And what happens is, unless you have batteries that are a higher voltage than what you're starting at, or you start at a high voltage, so your voltage doesn't drop below 14, then you can get away with it. That's like what Derek does and other people do. They have big, super lithium stuff, just huge, high voltage. So when the voltage does drop, it goes down to around 14 something. So you don't need all that input current. But we're talking a stock electrical car. So you have about 60, 70 amps of current. That's all you're really going to get. After that, you're going to have voltage drop. And then that's another question. How much voltage drop is safe? It all depends. Man, I'm really bummed out about this camera. Oof. It's okay. Let me try it real fast here. Hope everyone's having a good night tonight. I don't know if that's going to work. No, that's not going to work. I'm wasting my time on this. Anyway, so let's go back to... Oh, what happened? What'd I do? Okay. So let's go back to the screen of your guys' pulls. I can't see this too well. Let me zoom in. Okay. So, again, most 31%, only big 3, which it was my first thing that I did, and I thought I saw an actual difference when I just added a battery in the back. Yeah, I could play longer with my car off, but it didn't really help with the voltage, and that was mainly because of the input current. And then the lowest was just big 3 and added batteries, and I think that's funny because myself, I had a stock alternator with a big 3 with like 4 batteries in my car for like the longest time, until I got my Ohio Gen alternator, and man, did I see a difference. And then obviously the next two they're kind of the same, and they really were. Look at the percentages. They're both 21% for upgraded batteries and alternator. That is like the big step where you're actually going to see a big difference. Now with the added batteries, that could be AGM or lead acid. It doesn't matter. But obviously you could see like it pretty much worked out, you know, and it makes sense because that's what you see a lot. And I enjoy that because the people that are watching me, you guys, it's like I said earlier, it's not like you don't need it, but you probably might need it. You can never have too much electrical. Honestly, you really can't. Here, let me back that out now. We're good. So you guys got some beefy stuff. Ryan Ross, thanks for tuning in. I have a Def Bounce, 700 amp hour lithium, and one Mechman 370. So you got a holy crap ton of lithium. Now that's another thing where you're listing amp hours, and where people are saying, oh well, this lithium only has 40 amp hours, this AGM has 110. Do we want to go down that rabbit hole? I had some comments on Facebook where people were saying, oh man, we should talk about that. And I'm like, that's a lot, because then there's C rating, there's discharge rates, amp hours, and so many different factors. You know, when you see an amp hour on a AGM battery, it's entirely different, where they rate those amp hours at a 20-hour discharge. So for how many hours it can go that 20 hours, they factor in how much current it can pull before, you know, when it dies at 20 hours. And that gives you the amp hours. So if you can pull 110 amps on it, and I think that's for 20 hours, that's a 20-hour rate, and then it's completely dead. But that's why they're deep cycle batteries. But that's a whole nother factor too, where of how much capacity can a battery discharge compared to a lithium. I've heard from that awesome forum that I want to make a video about, where they talk about AGM and lithium and all kind of stuff, and it's cool because they pretty much show that, you know, a lithium, not every lithium, but at least the lithium iron phosphate, that kind of chemistry, their kind of battery, whatever their C rating is, they can discharge that and recharge at 100%. So you get more deep cycle per AH out of a lithium, and you get a faster discharge and recharge on the lithium. So you actually get more battery out of it for a smaller size, but then you have less amp hours, because you don't it's like denser energy, if that makes any sense, but a smaller amount. So you can get that instantaneous burst of power that you need, and that's kind of the whole point of lithium. So that's why, you know, whenever I first got into it, people were like, oh, don't leave your lights on, your batteries will be dead tomorrow. I mean, kind of, sort of, you know, because they don't really have much amp hours compared to a regular starting car battery, which was anywhere from 70 to 80. You leave your lights on overnight, they're going to die anyway. Or maybe it'll be really dim and you still got to jump it. But with a lithium, it's probably going to be dead in half the time. If you compare the two, because the amp hours. But that doesn't mean, oh, well, I got 300 amp hours of AGM in my car. Does not compare to 300 amp hours of lithium. And even that doesn't make a difference either, because of the discharge rate, the C rate, how they rate the batteries, how they make the batteries, all that stuff. It really does make a difference. I'm not no lithium professional, but at the same time, I definitely have learned a lot about it, and it makes sense why it is the new type of battery, and it's just more efficient all around. Right. That's the 50% right there. Lithium can go down a lower percentage, where AGM doesn't like less than 50. Yeah, AGM, any kind of wet cell, does not like a complete discharge. Lithium, it doesn't hurt it as bad. Yes, you can charge it from 100% to 0%. And that's another thing where me and Rob talked about it, of how much charging your battery makes a difference, especially over the wintertime. You don't want to leave them 100% charged like an AGM or a wet cell, where they need to be topped off so they don't desulfate. The lithium don't like to be. You want to keep them down to that 30%, which is totally against everything we know about wet cells, AGM, any kind of battery. What your dad told you, don't leave your, you know what I mean, charge your battery over winter if you're not using it. Lithium, take a look at it. If it's doing okay, Don't touch it. You ready to use it? Charge it up. Thank you for your comment, man. 25 says, AGM for me, nothing more regardless of an awesome potential of lithium. I like AGM for simplicity, that you don't have to worry about BMSs, if the battery's going to explode. I don't know. There's a lot of factors where you can actually overdrive a BMS in a lithium bank, and then you're going to have problems. Or the BMS stops working, and then you have problems because of the equalization of the batteries, and then one pulls, one pushes, and the next thing you know, you have a fire in your car. It can happen, but AGM, it's pretty safe. But the weight, too. And how much you're paying? It took me a while to switch to 25. SJC Audio guy says regular battery plus lithium for system with a high output alternator, and battery isolator, best of both. That's what I'm doing. I still need to install my isolator. You know what? And it's like I got an AGM up front and a lithium, and that lithium is constantly being pulled from that AGM. I just need to disconnect it. That's what I need to do. But it's like, do I really want to disconnect my power wire? Like, what if I just want to take it out? Then I'm going to have to hook it up. You know what I mean? So I'm that kind of guy. But yeah, absolutely. I have an isolator. I just need to install it. But that does help because it's like the AGM, we'll say it's up front. It's taking the brute. It's got the crank amps. Lithium, I guess. I don't know how they rated a crank amps. I'm sure they're not rated to run at like 8.4 volts like a deep cycle or a crank start battery. There's all types of different batteries. So yeah, it definitely works to have both of those. Right. Honestly, not everyone listens to their system with their car not running. And I don't think it's not the problem with you playing your system with it not running, because the voltages equal out. They really do. It's whenever it's sitting for a long time, it's so you don't put stress on your batteries, which I'm doing. Let's see. RGA watching a movie and enjoying Deviant and 25 on the side. Oh. Thanks for tuning in, Deviant. Let's see. Got lots of questions. Thanks, guys. Let's see. El Fuego says, running 0 gauge CCA on my 125 amp test bench power supply. I figured it's fine with the max output of the power supply. Am I going to burn down the house? You should be fine, because I think the power supply that you have, that's the 100 amp, I forget what yours is called. Mine's the Brand X, but it's the same thing. Technically, they have 4 gauge inputs. So in a perfect world, I'm going to say the 0 gauge CCA would be equivalent. You should be fine. Now, the big difference is you could probably run 8 gauge on it, not going to lie to you, because of the distance. Say you had your battery 6 inches away from it. Yeah, you could run 8 gauge. To a certain point, you have to look at like the laws of physics and stuff like that, and heat, and there's a lot of factors. But with the short distance in mind, you can run smaller gauge wire. But just remember, you might have more voltage drop. You might be real close to that ceiling, and you could have a problem. So I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. You definitely could. There's a lot of amp dynos that I do where I think it was something that needed maybe like a 4 gauge, like the Kicker ZK 550.2. It only had I think, yeah, it had 4 gauge inputs, and I put 8 gauge in there, and it did certified. Voltage didn't drop. But the 8 gauge run was only 1.5 feet. Now, if you're running from the front of your car to the back of the car, absolutely, man, absolutely. Bingo. It mainly has to do with resting volts, right? Because the lithium will be being pulled down from the AGM. Yeah, because the AGM is going to be down here. Lithium is going to be pulled down so they equal out. So. And it doesn't hurt a battery to keep it charged, you know, above the resting voltage, but to be pulled down below the resting voltage continuously and making it sag below its state of charge, it might be below 0%, and then that's you know, that's not a good thing. And then next thing you know, your battery dies. I mean, I haven't had a problem with it yet, but I take care of my stuff. I do check on it. I hope he comes back this week. I don't know, with their intro, it doesn't seem like it. Plus, I know Kip. He ain't gonna go out there if he's, you know, coughing and stuff. Ryan Ross says AGM batteries rest at 11.5 to 12, where the lithium rests at 13 plus is a main reason for isolator. Oh man, if your AGMs are resting like 11.5, 12, you got some issues, man. AGM should be resting at 13 to 13.3, and lithium, it depends which kind of lithium. If you got lithium iron phosphate, 3.2 volt cells or 3.7 volt cells, it all makes a difference of where the voltage resting is, obviously. But that's why lithium iron phosphate is nice. Anything that's 3.2 volts per cell, or whatever it is with the lithium, I think it's 3.2. The resting voltage is 13.4 to 13.2. 13.2 is literally 30% state of charge. 13.4 is 100% state of charge with that battery cell in mind. AGM, same thing, 13 to 13.3. You buy a brand new AGM, it should be sitting at 13.3. That's why they say the lithium iron phosphate is a good go-to for AGM applications where you might be meshing them together. Now, lead acids, they're a little bit lower, 12.6 to 12.8, give or take. Could be even 12.4, but usually they sit around 12.8, 12.9. But you're absolutely right about the isolators, the voltage differences, 100%. 25 says if it's a new house, you're going to have to burn it down. The wife's going to have to buy another one. SJC says you should be okay, El Fuego. Watch the CCA. Wear and heat points at fuses. CCA is just less efficient, man. It really is. Vega's like, what? Did you say something? Absolutely. Bobby B, what is going on? Uncle Bobby B. He says, hello, Andy. Again, live from Disneyland. See, I knew it was Disneyland because you're out in California. That's awesome. I've been to Disney World, not Disneyland. Enjoy your vacation there, buddy. And thank you for tuning in. You're nuts. Tell everyone I said hello. Oh, man, I missed a lot of comments here. Holy moly. Thank you, guys. Deviant with his weekly reminder. He says 25 people in here. Tappy tappy, likey. Andy's Patreon. He only asks for $1 a month. They take PayPal. Twice a week live streams. 12.5 cents a show. Show support. Thank you so much, Deviant. Appreciate you, buddy, for all that you do. Let's see here. If you say CCA 3 times, I pop up like Beetlejuice. 4-0 for the win. Basehead 30, what's going on, man? LOL, I have the above 3 cars. Wait, I have the above 3 cars. Okay, O2 Blazer with 3 high output alternators, 4 AGM batteries, 2 PPI 4800s, and 2 PC 18.2s, all class AB amps. Yeah, got some AB amps, man. They're not very efficient. You're gonna need all those high output alternators and batteries, but I bet you that it definitely does the job. You should have over 600 to 900 amps of input power. I think you're good. Basehead 30 and a 97 Jimmy with 1 high output alternator, 2 AGM batteries, all class D amps, and a 2016 Volkswagen with 1 high output alternator, 100 amp lithium, all Alpine Type R, Alpine PDX amps, and all different, all work fine. Man, you got every car with the right setup, and you got good electrical, high output alternator, lithium for days, AGM for days and weeks. That's crazy, man. You have to send me some pictures. Oh, by the way, I made a email, livinloudwithandy@gmail.com. I'll leave it on the bottom of the description after the video is over. I figured I would make my own Gmail account for the YouTube channel. So if you guys want to send me some videos of your bass setup, I think that's something cool we could do. I can make a video and talk about your setup and post it, and I thought that'd be pretty cool to do for you guys. And if you have any questions, you can get a hold of me there, because I know some guys just don't have Facebook or whatever it might be. And instead of all the comments being on my common email account with, you know, everything else, I would have one set up for an email account so you guys can get a hold of me. Got lots of questions here, guys. Holy moly. Do you even loom, bro? SJC Audio Guy says, I wonder if you can make a power bank from 12-volt tool batteries. Stupid question. Absolutely. But the problem is, how much discharge can they dish up? 12-volt toll batteries, those got a bunch of 18650 lithium-ion lithium batteries. So same thing as like a vape battery. It depends. They might have NIMH batteries or something equivalent, different cell sizes and stuff like that. So you could, but what it is you run into max discharges, and it might be like 20 amps altogether throughout the whole thing, and that's not enough to run a system. But you could definitely make like a little boombox, and maybe with a crap ton of them you would have to run a lot of them in parallel to stay the same voltage but gain discharge because it's dividing it from all the batteries, stuff like that, and couple in series. You know, it'd be a pain. It'd be not worth it at the end of the day. But you definitely could. I wouldn't suggest it. Here, let me skip through some of these. Okay, cool. Larry Keller, what's going on, man? My kid's going to be running a cab 4500 and a 600 watt Rockford 5-channel AB old school amp. How much electrical will he need? He has a homespun Big 3 with the excess 1-aught from his power kit. Okay, so you got a cab 4500, which is a half-bridge design, I believe. I know the cab 2200s, or I forget what they are. But anyway, and a 600 watt, don't even worry about the 4-channel, 5-channel amp for the car. It's the cab that's going to be pulling some current. And knowing cabs, they do rated and then some. I think that's a 5,000 watt amp altogether. So you kind of want to have that in mind and almost double your power. And that would give you the most perfect ideal of how much electrical you need for your voltage to not even drop. So let's say it is, 5,000 watts at a draw, but that's not going to be 100% efficient now, is it? It's going to be anywhere from 60 to 70% efficient on a good day. So I would say around 8,000 watts of input power. So with 8,000 watts, how many amps do I need to keep my voltage? Don't even talk about batteries. Let's just, to keep the voltage, how many amps do I need coming from my alternator? Let's see here. I would say at least, man, if you didn't want your voltage to budge at all, you would almost need 800 amps of alternator for it to not budge whatsoever, and you wouldn't even notice that you had an amp in the back. But that's not very typical to run 2 or 3 alternators in your vehicle. Could you get away with one? Absolutely. 200 to 300 amps of input current and then run some lithium in the back to take the demand. But then you got to remember, that lithium might not be able to keep up for long. It's eventually going to be discharged because the alternator is only giving it 300 amps of current. We'll say on a good day. Next thing you know, you're pulling 400, 500, 600 amps of current from that amplifier at an instant draw. Let's just say you're playing some 20 hertz and it's just loud, or whatever you got, a song that doesn't give up, and you're pulling it. Guess what? You're slowly losing reserve capacity. Your voltage will start to drop, period. So, I mean, honestly, you could probably get away with one high output alternator, depending what the car is, at least 250 plus. And I would say 80 amp hours of lithium and you should be okay. But that's just very general. Yeah, 2 JYs, you wouldn't have a problem. You can get away with one. You absolutely could. How much voltage do you want to get away from, though, whenever you try to cut corners on input power and reserve power? Yes, batteries say they can take 4,000 watts, which they can. Group 31 can absolutely take 4,000 watts, but it's going to drop down to 9 volts. And then if you don't have, 300-400 amps of current going in there replenishing it, that battery's going to be dead within minutes to an hour. Not even. Thank you for your question, man, and thank you for tuning in. I should have made an AOL account. I think you guys would have liked that a little bit better. You know it, buddy. Aaron T, what's going on, man? Thank you for tuning in tonight, buddy. YouTube Living Loud Socks. I like that. Vaseline, my website. Yeah, I just threw that up today. Mullen Performance says a lot of guys on the sloppy forums jumpstart their cars with Milwaukee cordless batteries. I mean, you can, but that's the thing, you know. Batteries have a high rate discharge, like an instant, like what it can do, and it's very high compared to its continuous rating. But you're going to be using for a continuous rating with audio, which I think he wanted to do. Jay Graham, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. Yes, guys, on TikTok, we are talking basshead stuff, if you're even listening still. I feel like everyone's just jumping on here, which is kind of the idea. Great electrical is key. You can never have too much electrical, man. Deviant says, Living Loud with Andy presents El Fuego 8-track tape deck. That's not a bad idea. Ohm's Law is your friend. Absolutely. You need to learn Ohm's Law, how to wire subwoofers and match them with amplifiers. And there's all kind of different ways to match them with different types of amplifiers that have different channels. There's more than one way to wire a speaker, for sure. Come on, guys. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm caught up. Good. RGA says he builds Lunicycle kits powered by Milwaukee batteries. I mean, right, and Lunicycles, I'm guessing that's like an e-bike, and an e-bike, when you have higher voltage, you can have, what happens is, to get the same amount of power, there's less current needed to be pulled because the voltage is higher. Voltage times amperage equals volt amps. Watts. So, yes, I know, I want to build a e-bike battery for my 48-volt moped. Right now I just have lead acid in there. I want to do a bunch of 18650s. I think I need 43. I think I need 43. I don't know. It's 13 series, 4 parallel, whatever that is, 46 or something like that. Batteries to run 18650s that are like 2 amp hours each. And then when you run the 4 in series, you get the 48 volts, but then whenever you run the 13 times the 2 amp hours, then you get your reserve capacity. Or actually, no, I'm thinking backwards. See, I'm wrong. When you wire in series, it raises your voltage. So you're taking that 3.7 volts to get around 52 volts. When you run the parallel, that's how you get your amp hours. So if you had 2,000 milliamp hours of your lithium, which is 2 amp hours, 1,000 milliamps per hour, and then you would have 4 in parallel, boom, 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 then you would have 8,000 milliamp hours or 8 amp hours of lithium for that kind of setup. Sorry, I started ranting there. I mean, we could do that. Living Loud with Andy Covey tests ship faster than UPS COVID tests. What's going on, Phi Mobile Sounds? Thank you for tuning in tonight, buddy. I'm really bummed I couldn't get my camera working. I don't know what I did wrong to it, man. You know, I never usually have this problem with it. Usually it's just, you know, we get our certain amount of time out of it and then it's done. But couldn't even get nothing today, man, and I don't know. I'm going to try to give it a go again, but I doubt it's going to work. I really do. I doubt it's going to work. Let's see. Aaron T says, Andy, would adding a super cap be beneficial to C-Max lithium I already have? All super caps are going to do is be able to discharge and recharge even faster. So if you feel like your voltage is kind of dropping, I don't think super caps could be the answer. I mean, you might need just more input current, but the super caps will give the amp more power quicker, but then it's like a revolving door. You would give the amplifier more power quicker, but then can those lithiums discharge and keep up with a supercapacitor. Sure, the supercapacitors are charged, but now the lithium's not. So then the lithium's like, hey, I need more voltage. And then the alternator's like, okay, here you go. And then next thing you know, your alternator's heating up, it can't give out any more, and that's when your voltage drops. So I don't think it's the key to help, but it would help give you a little bit more oomph if there is that room needed to be there. Here, let's try this camera real fast. We're going to try it. If it glitches, I'm going to break it. No, I'm just kidding. There we go. But I'm glitchy. Let me know if I'm glitchy. I think I'm glitchy. If it's just glitchy on my end, I'll deal with it, because I can see it right there. But I feel like it's glitchy. Make an e-cart for Larry. Absolutely. I already got 2 amps going to it for that power supply on that dummy battery. I don't know what's going on, man. Is it because I'm dual streaming? No, that's on my phone. It shouldn't have anything to do with it. It's glitchy. See, that there's a problem. That camera was off. You know, there shouldn't be a reason why it's glitching. Now I don't know. I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm gonna say it's the cord. If it's not, then I'm gonna wreck it. Let's see here. Yeah, thank you guys for letting me know. I just wanted to try it, you know what I mean? Because it's like it's been sitting, it's cold, it shouldn't be having a problem, and it is. It's got to be the wire. Thank you, Paul, for tuning in tonight, hanging out. Hope you have a good one, man. I'll see you next weekend. Dano says, Andy, talk about using a single alternator. It still powers the vehicle as well as the system. In my i.e. example, you won't get all 320 amps from your stereo. You still got to run the whole vehicle. Right. I know with stock alternators, you know, they say, oh, just go with about 60 to 70% of what your alt can do, and that's how much you're going to be able to give to your batteries, but I don't even think it's that much. You know what I mean? Because you run your AC, you put your window down, you're just doing your basic stuff, you put your defrost on, who knows what you do. You're pulling current from that alternator. So if you got a 320 amp alternator, you're not going to get that either. You know what I mean? Because you got stuff that needs to be ran. And then, if it's rated at 320 amps, is that at your car's idle? Your alternator's idle? Or is that at 6,000 RPMs, you revving your car up? Or 6,000 RPMs or whatever it is on the alternator, how they test them to get their max amperage. You'd be surprised. A 320 amp alternator, that's what I got in my car, and it does 220 idle. You know what I mean? But it'll do 320 if you rev the crap out of it. So there is always that too. Yeah, that's just my other camera, my good old ZV-1. Maybe we could do a giveaway. ZV-1, guys. It's great for streaming. It's great. Live stream destruction. Break it. Basehead 30 says, I find equipment lasts as long as it used to all the time and used right. Right. With anything, man, in life, you take care of it's going to last. If it just breaks, I mean, maybe it's just very cheaply made, or you might have got a dud, or you did something to it. Usually it's the last one. Still got 28 people in here. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Trying to think what else we can talk about, guys. If you guys got any questions, drop them down below. I think we're pretty much caught up on everything. I could take a look. I'm trying to think. Someone wanted to talk about the L7X, and I don't know why I have it on my screen here, but I do. I remember there was a reason why I wanted to do that. You know, maybe that might have been for Casey on the last podcast. I'm not too sure. Deviant says 25 could win the camera giveaway and be your next guest next week. Still won't show his face then. Come on, man. Can't do that to me. Okay. I see your message, Car Truck. I may eventually do a full truck system, but for now, I got body panels, etc. to fix when it's not Antarctic. Right. I feel that slows a lot of us down, you know, and that's why springtime we're all crunching, you know, getting ready for the car shows and all that kind of fun stuff. Plus body work, that's tough. You want to be inside a garage to do all that. Brucey, did we discuss how amp hours is meaningless and shouldn't be used compared to batteries? Sorry, I'm a little late. I was going to say, if you were here, you would know that we did talk about it. Because I brought you up and everything. I didn't say your name, but I brought you up that people wanted to talk about it, of just how lithium amp hours and AGM lithium or AGM hours, whatever, how they rate it is entirely different, and what it means to you in car audio. Now, Car Truck wanted to talk about the L7X. I feel like we should just bring it up. So let me share. Oh, I gotta stop that screen. Let me share screen. Window. No. Microsoft. There we go. Cool. So we got the L7X here. What do you guys want to know about it? I mean, it's an awesome woofer, 2000 RMS, 3-inch coil. Is this working? Make sure it's working. Oh, whoa. What the heck? Oh, you guys don't even see that. I forgot to put it up. Man, I'm stupid. I just can't see anything. It just popped it up on the screen. I thought it was already up there. Let's see here. You're welcome, man. Will it blend? Will it blend? I don't know if it'll blend or not. New for 2021. The legend returns. The Kicker Solo XL7X competition subwoofer brings the newest bass technology and unprecedented performance from the guys who invented it for a vehicle. Absolutely, man. This thing's going to be a monster. Hopefully my voice doesn't glitch whenever I scroll. I know it did on the last one. Field replaceable cone, which is awesome. They used to call it the spare. I think they call it something different now, which is pretty cool. But compared to any other woofer, you can fix it on the dime. You don't have to rip it out. You don't have to, you know, cut things and glue things. It literally just assembles, and you get all the pieces to assemble it, and it is money. And the there's a word for it. The tolerance is better than the old Solo X spare of how you would replace it. And dual 1 and dual 2, and I like how all the RMS ratings the same for the 10, the 12, the 15. I mean, honestly, RMS ratings are solely, well, not solely, but mostly due to the size of the coil, the type of the material, cooling factors of how the motor structure is designed, the basket, everything makes a difference of how much power a coil can handle. And then again, you know, is that 2000 RMS, you know, at 0.707 of the max wattage of the amplifier over a continuous time, or what is it? I think it's just, it gives you an idea of how much power it can take, and then you kind of have to be the judge on, is that too much power or not enough, and it depends on the enclosure. There's so many factors on that. Not at all. Andy, do you like Kicker products? No. No. Boss Audio, hear me out. I need to be sponsored, okay? I know it doesn't look like it, but I rip you guys hard. I really do. I'm gonna do 160s with Boss. I'll be the first person to do it. I don't think anyone's done that yet. You know what I mean? It's like the Guinness World Record, you know? Someone in car audio, like lowest frequency, loudest. You know, that's not a thing, but you know the guy. And then it's like highest SPL vehicle, and it's like, well, what about the highest Boss? You know? I mean, what's that score? I have no idea. I know one guy doing like a 43. El Fuego says, Andy, I need an insider deal on a used KX2400 when you upgrade so I can power an L7X10. Man, you know what? I will keep my eyes open for you. I don't think I could sell any of my kicker gear, you know, because it's like, I got a good deal on that. I got a really, really good deal on that, and some other stuff too, which was really awesome. I could never give that away. But I'll definitely keep an eye out. Dude, they do pop up $400 or $500, and they're worth every freaking penny. John K says, just chiming in, given the title, I'm sure this would have been a good stream. I'll watch what I missed later. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Yeah, we're just talking about, you know, how much electrical you got in your system, why you need electrical, and stuff like that. I would like to go over it more with some stuff. You know what? I didn't even get to use them yet, but I have some plans for them. They're sitting right here, man. I can't do no ZV-1 fancy focus, but it works. The GoPro is really not a bad camera. It's really not. Yeah, these things are awesome, man. Thank you so much. I've been using that clamp, though. I've been using that clamp, and I made a little video about it, but it's like kind of like, okay, I want to do some more testing and maybe add to the video before I post it. It just, you know, some side jack stuff, you know. Ooh. Deviant says, Andy really does like Boss. We have YouTube videos to prove it. Preach, brother. Well, we've been live for an hour already. Well, not even, because we had the 20 minutes of pre-roll, because I'm a dummy. Five Mobile Solutions. Sound, sorry. Didn't they price the 10 at $4.99? The 12 at $5.49? That was a number that was shared last year. Any updates on the 15 price? I think that's literally what Kip was saying this Tuesday, which that was a great episode. He said the 15 was probably around $700-800, I believe, because there was no Solo X 15. There was the 10, 12, 18. So no price yet. I mean, once the product's done, you're gonna know the product's done, the price, where to get it, how to get it, when to get it, everything. You're gonna know. You watch the Unmasked show, you watch this channel, you're gonna know. And with stuff like that, you know, whatever I can release, I do. That's why I even post the videos of what Kicker does on their live stream on my own channel as like little clips, you know, like literally all the gravy, the good stuff, you know what I mean? A little bit of meat, but mostly gravy of like their shows, because I know you guys want to see it. You want to know that kind of stuff, so that's why I do it. Kicker is pretty cool for starters. Heck yeah, man. Thank you, Car Audio Boss, for tuning in. I don't know how long I'm going to do this stream tonight. I mean, I'm kind of upset that Sony ZV-1 isn't working. It's really bumming me out. It really is. And then we might go live again Tuesday after the Unmasked show. I kind of like doing that, you know. We'll at least do it until Kip comes back, and then when he does, we'll see when that time happens. But absolutely, man. 22 people in the chat. Let's just see. There was something else I wanted. Yeah, I guess we can go over some of your comments. We'll throw it up. Oh, I gotta do the thing. You know the thing. Come on, man. Gotta do the thing. Okay, share screen. Microsoft tab. Living loud with Andy. You know the guy. And then, why does that do that? I gotta go back. Everything else. Okay, cool. There we go. Maybe before I get to this, what's your plan on Cookie Monster for L7X? Can't say. I really cannot say. I was planning, because they do have bigger amps coming out. We all know that. Big subs, big amps. But for Cookie Monster to put on their new amp, okay? The 18-inch Kicker Solo X. I didn't say L7X. Maybe one day. That would be cool. But no, that's kind of on back order, really. The Cookie Monster, I got to do a few things to it. I mean, it runs. It sounds good. Some tweaking stuff with the enclosure, just, you know, tying some things down that I've been kind of lazy on. Stuff like that. I need to throw in the KX 400.4. I have it to match the KX 2400, and I haven't put it in because I wanted to amp dyno it, and then it wasn't working. Sent it to Kicker. They sent it back, and I said it still ain't working, so I sent it back, and then it was just a thing with the amp that I found a dead spot in the amp at 2 ohms uncertified. I can't do it on 4 channels bridged or whatever. So, yeah, that not too many plans with it right now, but who knows what the future may come. Thank you for your question, El Fuego. James Brusso said, so did Kicker design it to be the loudest or have some sound quality too? Or both? You know Steve Irby with the Kicker sound and how he does things. You know, even this SPL designed in a way, or the thought of a Solo X 18-inch 5,000 RMS 10,000 watt peak woofer can also sound good in a sealed enclosure or a ported enclosure, a small enclosure or a big enclosure, and it'll sound pretty good. L7X. It's gonna be quite the same, man. Okay, here we'll just pull that down. We got a lot of questions here, guys. Thank you. Andy's After Party Tuesday, you know it. All right, Untasked Andy on Tuesday after Unmasked Kicker. JY versus Limitless. Have you preference? I mean, my preference is JY just because I personally know the guys. They had a Kicker Cube. They hooked me up in many different ways. Limitless, my buddy down the road has that. I think for the amount of capacity you're getting less with the Limitless. You have to buy the real big ones to start making up some ground, but they're pretty expensive. But it all depends what you're trying to run in it. I'm not going to bash on either because I think they're actually working with each other now. John K says, I know amp dynos do a pretty good job at showing how many watts an amp will dish out, but you do have to have any advice on how they compare sound quality for amps. Sparse info out there for that. Right. Kip would be the guy to talk to on that. Signal to noise ratio is a big key of reducing that, of just wasted information, we'll call it. And there's a lot of other factors too with like the type of capacitors they use. At the end of the day, it's just like anything, man. You get what you pay for. You pay for cheap power, and a lot of it might not sound as good. Just gonna be honest with you. And if you overpay for something, 9 chances out of 10, it's going to be really good quality, but is it worth the dollar? So there's two sides of things, and that's where you kind of want to find that happy medium of whatever your build is or whatever your preference is. Doesn't matter that your amp can do all this stuff when you're going to be using it for this and wasted information below 40 hertz, all that stuff, then it might not really even matter to you. So it all depends on that. And then reliability. That's another factor as well. Oh, put up the wrong. Limitless is limited? Yes. Fi Mobile Sound says price per amp hour is what you're looking at, Andy, or capacity. Well, amp hours and capacity technically is the same thing. What you want to look at is everything really with a battery. You want to look at the amp hours, and then you want to look at the discharge rate, the continuous discharge rate. That is the amperage that battery can dish out forever until it's dead. So you look at it like that, and then it's like, okay, is the C rating 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0.5? And how that works is if they have a, let's say, a 20 amp lithium battery. We'll just say a 20 amp, we'll say a 40 amp hour JYHP40, okay? And that's rated at 2C. So that can do continuous 80 amps for a half an hour, and then it's dead. So that's kind of how that works. Now, the continuous discharge is a little different. So that's 200 amps of discharge and 400 amps peak. That's like a quick, burst. Voltage will drop, that kind of stuff. And then there's like I'm going to blow up right before this kind of voltage, and I think it's like 800 or something like that. But you can't do that. It'll blow up. So what do I look for? Honestly, the amp hours isn't very important. It's more the continuous discharge ratings and somewhat of the C rating, but that's really not, it's the continuous discharge rating, the surge, the pulse, that kind of stuff. And then AGM batteries don't have that, so you're kind of stuck with amp hours. I'm sure there's a way you could probably figure out continuous discharge on an AGM battery, but again, like the other guy was saying on here, you're only going to be able to get 50% out of that battery, that continuous discharge, let's just say we know numbers that we don't know. We'll say that 100 amp hour AGM battery, if it was a lithium, it could do 100 amp hours continuous, whatever, 1C. But since it's an AGM, it's only going to be able to do half of that, so it's going to be able to discharge 50 amps. That's kind of like how it kind of works. So your voltage will drop, but it's not like the battery can give everything it can, if that makes sense. I really want to do a video about the different discharge rates of how you barely get anything out of a lead acid or AGM battery at a, like, even a continuous draw. You know what I mean? Yeah, they can put out the power, but how much can they really, like, for how big they are, they could even do more, but they only can do half of that. If that makes sense to you, let me know. If it doesn't, it's something that, like, I don't really want to go down the rabbit hole, but I know enough to know that I don't know enough, you know? Just like Kip says, man. Jack of all trades, master of none. Thank you, SJC, for tuning in, buddy. You too, man. All right, cool. Well, you know what? I'm probably going to wrap this show up early this week. Next week, we'll do a 2-hour stream for sure. I need to get some rest. I didn't sleep very well. I went to bed normal time, 3 a.m. That's normal for me. And woke up normal time, 12. But let's just say I didn't fall asleep until about 6:30, give or take. And that was it. So didn't get too much sleep today. Just been crazy. Set up a projector for Bryson's room. Listen to this. I got a new projector for him because he broke the last one. Guess what? The new projector didn't have a tripod stand. So then I had to go and move the shelf up. I'm like, screw this. I'm upset. This stupid Chinese crap. I don't want it. This is junk. Put it up there. I came over here, sat here, got ready, and I was just playing with the other projector, the old one that was broke because he took it apart. And I was like, let me try this one glass. I'm going to flip it. There's literally like 4 pieces of glass that are in a projector, all these plastic parts, and you got to have it just right. And I tried it in like 20 different variations, and it would come close only one way, and it just looked like crap. It was blurry. I'm like, man, there's something missing. I tried one thing. The very bottom glass, closest to inside of the projector. And put it together, and I'm like, wow, that fit pretty nice. And I'm telling you, I tried 4 hours sitting in there one time, and recently again for another half an hour, you know, just getting frustrated. And it worked. I got it to work. So I didn't need the new projector without the tripod stand. I bought a tripod stand to hook to the wall for the projector, so he's using his old projector, and I got it to work. So, I mean, I have an extra projector now, but still, you would think when you buy the same product, you're going to get the same thing. It looks exactly the same. It just doesn't have a tripod holder, and where the heck are you gonna put it? You can't. You have to sit it on your freaking, you know, floor or something, the table, so the kids can get it. But that was just a little rant story. I just figured I'd throw that in there. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love each and every one of you guys. You guys are my supporters, and it means a lot, really does. Definitely going to try to do a video this weekend. I should have some time Sunday. I'm going to family tomorrow. That's another reason why I need to go to bed. And so yeah, I'll definitely get something out for you guys. Maybe some flex. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you on Tuesday. Let me get this set up before I let you guys go. Dance to the music. All right, we're good. See you guys. Have a good weekend. Stay living loud.